things were not working out. No matter how much I worked hard, trying to be perfect, it's just not working. And I think Golden kind of was the song I needed at that time. And so when singing it, naturally kind of cried. And I feel like it helped me feel like there's some hope and maybe I can reach for something that feels so impossible.
Hi, I'm EJAE.
Hi, I'm Arden Cho, and this is how we became Rumi in KPop Demon Hunters.
I kind of got on the project before the script was written. Yeah, it was a very small team back then, and Maggie and Chris told me about the plot of the movie, and I fell in love instantly. You know, the struggle that Rumi goes through, the duality of things, and, you know, trying to accept all parts of herself. That was definitely something that, ooh, it hit a nerve.
I was a ghost, I was alone.
Also, just like the fact that it's a big animated film based in Korea is like the first time I've ever heard of one. So I was like, definitely right on it.
I think for me, I had basically retired and I was like, I'm done. I traveled, I did all the bucket list things, and I remember my team was shocked because they were just like, wait, what do you mean? There's still other opportunities. But I think I just felt so discouraged that my heart had left. But then my agent would send me things here and there and be like, what about this? What about this? And KPop Demon Hunters was one of those projects that when it came in my inbox and I was like, wait, Maggie King. Oh, Kangshida. So Kang is a Korean last name. My mom's a King. And so I was like, oh my gosh, she's Korean. And then for me, it was like, I would love to be Celine. I thought it was so cool. And I didn't even consider anything else. And I did a voice note for my Celine audition. I was in a hotel. I think I was in Korea at the time. And that became, I guess, something that made them think Rumi. And I was so excited because I didn't even consider that I would be right for Rumi. I listened to it recently and it was really funny because I was like, in my mind, I had done like a very mature, like older voice. And I listened to it and I go, oh, it sounds like Rumi. But that was my first audition and that's what got me the call back for Rumi.
Yeah, I mean, something about voice memos. I know I wrote Golden in a voice memo.
Voice memo, I know.
Those voice notes. I got a call from my producer and they asked me, hey, would you be down to sing for Rumi? It was in the midst of singing all these demos, amazing millions of demos. And I was just like, of course, like, I love Rumi, the character herself, and I connect with her so much and being able to emote her emotions through singing. A huge honor, and also was quite efficient because, you know, since I wrote a lot of the songs, it was just kind of a easy transition into singing for Rumi.
My callback was in person, and I remember I was in Korea at the time, and they gave me the option. They're like, do you want to do your callback on Zoom? You know, having experienced 20 plus years in the business doing in front and behind, I was like, ooh, in-person auditions are like the way. And so I remember flying in for that, and after that first audition, I was like, ooh, I feel like I know Rumi. But I think maybe auditioning for Celine helped that. Because it helped me understand more of Rumi, because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
I can't really share some of this, but I know EJAE knows. EJAE knows the secret. Something I love to do is, obviously when you read the script, I love like breaking it down, scribbling everything and writing notes and asking like, you know, where I'm coming from, right, as the character. And it's so funny because I feel like with Sony and Netflix, it was so like top secret. We weren't allowed to like print it out. So I remember like writing down as much as I could in some of the scenes, and then we'd go in and sometimes they'd be different. And again, with voiceover and animation, it's like ever changing and developing as we go.
They're stealing the souls of our fans. They're stealing the souls of our fans?
You know, I think as an actor, our responsibility is bringing out the soul and the heart, and maybe the vulnerability, maybe the pain. And so I think I was really trying to understand who she was in wanting to be accepted, you know, wanting to be whole and loved as who she is. And I feel like her relationships with the girls, Huntrix, and relationship with Celine, and then with Chinu, sort of the first to see who she is and accept and protect her. I worked on a lot of what those relationships meant and who they were, more so than, I guess, the tone of my voice, which That I can thank Maggie and Chris for really directing and helping, because they'd be like, wait, do that again, but like your lowest register. Or like, do that again, but more like this. And sometimes you just do it and they're like, oh, that's it, do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what was I doing? I'm like, I think that was just me. And so I think in the end, there's still so much of us that just comes out.
The first demo was actually How It's Done demo, but it wasn't called How It's Done. How It's Done went through so many transitions. I think like 8 titles. I don't know how many titles. There's so many. The very first version was like 2020. Your Idol was the second, and then the Mantra. And then Golden was actually the last song of the whole film that we wrote. Well, for How It's Done, it was kind of like, again, just a whole process for years. Kind of came back, like lost it, did the other song, and then came back to that. Like it was a lot of back and forth. Again, very collaborative effort of everything. You actually hear a lot of the original melodies. The dun 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 was definitely one. And then the first verse. That's all. That whole thing was in the original demo. But yeah, that was the first song. General like freestyle, the dun 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 came, and that was always so hooky. And we're trying to figure out how to make dun dun work, whether it be like, is it dun dun dun, like dun 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 dun, like that kind of vibe, or is it like other words? And like How It's Done kind of like I heard from something like on TikTok probably, and like, oh, that's how it's done. And I was like, wait, how it's done, dun dun. And once we got the concept down, all the lyrics just came flowing.
How did the fit check for the Napalm Era line come about?
When I write, I kind of just freestyle on top of the track. And I literally went, and this was like live on Zoom with Mark, my amazing co-writer. And I was like, fit check with the Napalm Era or Napalm Era. And then he goes, EJ, did you say Napalm Era? And I'm like, no, what is that? He was like, that's genius, we need to put that down. And I'm like, okay. And then Mark just, made the genius, coined the Napalm Era genius line. Did not know that would stick, but it worked.
But that's like such a fan favorite.
I didn't know that would be the fan favorite, to be honest. And then like for Your Idol was the same concept, laying a bunch of melodies on the track. And I was really inspired by the whole kind of like cathedral, like, oh, oh, oh. I added a lot of the harmonies, and Ian Eisendrath and I like kind of collaborated with a bunch of the vocal production of that. With Mark, we're just kind of figuring out fun lyrics, lots of puns in that.
Thank you for the pain, cause it got me going viral. I can be the star you rely on.
And with Golden, the famous story of going to the dentist and writing the melody of that came in the car. And it kind of like, again, if the track is so good, the inspiration comes quite instantly. And the first thing I heard was like da 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 na 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 na. And the second one was and then what's crazy is when I laid down all the melodies, I'm literally going like, you know what, a golden na 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 moment, like that. And then Mark was like, oh my God, because he like focused a lot on the lyrics of things. One of his ideas was gonna be golden. He was like, wait, EJ, how about gonna be golden? I was like, oh yeah. And so that's like when the magic happened, and then we wrote it. And again, still lots of fine tuning and making sure it fits with the storyline. But when we finished writing that, we were just like I was like, we just like stared at each other on Zoom. We were just like, I think this is a hit. Did we just write a smash? I'm just like, I know, it was really a really like serendipitous, magical moment when we wrote that. And it was actually one of my favorite songs of the film. Any of these concept melodies all come from, again, the directors and the studio, Netflix and Sony Animation and Ian Eisendrath. Like, they would give us a guideline, a very detailed, like, summary and guideline of what we need to write about, melodically what we need. Like, even with Golden, Maggie and Chris was like, can we please have like a really high note where Rumi struggles? That was always part of it. She's struggling to reach that high note, like she's struggling to get her dream of closing that whole moon and making it gold. So within that, again, because I connected so much with Rumi as a character, you know, her whole struggle with being essentially a perfectionist, a workaholic, to cover up the things she's very shameful about, and being a perfectionist of like trying to always put her best foot forward, and that could be very exhausting. I've definitely felt that when I was a K-pop trainee. Korea it's a beautiful culture. They're perfectionists. A lot of the culture is like perfectionism was one of them. But because of that, Korea is where we are today. They work so hard. They're one of the hardest working countries I know. As a trainee, always trying to be perfect, doing my best and never crying and showing that I'm strong. And you know, that was kind of where I kind of was able to write in the lyrics. But at the same time, you know, struggling of just like wanting your dream to come true was a huge part of the writing that I tried to put in. So Golden for me was so important because it really helped me through a hard time for myself. I was going through a lot. Things were not working out. No matter how much I worked hard, trying to be perfect, it's just not working. And I think Golden kind of was the song I needed at that time. And so when singing it, naturally kind of cried. And I feel like, you know, it helped me feel like there's some hope and maybe I can reach for something that feels so impossible. And yeah, and I'm here today with Golden, so it really did save me in different levels.
I had, I don't know, maybe like anywhere from like 7 to 10 sessions or so, all within the span of about a year and a half. Less than 2 years, for sure.
Yeah, I think similar. Singing-wise, probably like a year. When I'm singing demos, I take multiple takes till it's perfect. So I'm so glad that EJAE and Arden, our music director, is on the same page as me, because like we went hard. Like we would do a lot of takes till it's perfect. And meaning perfect is not just hitting the notes, really, it's emoting the lyric. That was the most important part of the film. Because again, we're animated characters. You're not actually using human faces and expressions and that detail you see. So it was so important that each detail that each breath, each like crackle in your voice is intentional. And it really was able to make the lyrics shine. So that's why it did take a lot of different takes to give the directors multiple options. And sometimes the storyline would change, so we have to change the lyrics, so we have to re-record it. So I would say many times.
Is there like a lyric or moment in particular where you like struggled to get it right, and then when you got it, you were like, ah, I'm so happy I got it?
You mean like Born to Be? No, yes, definitely that was one.
Exactly.
Absolutely was one. We did many takes of that because there were so many different ways to sing it. It could be Born to Be or Born to Be.
There's no lies as to we're
That was one of them. But another one was actually more than Golden. It was actually, for me, how it's done. The raps are so hard. Danny Chung, shout out. His raps in it were, so hard. Like, yeah, and then, something about when you come in the crowd. That part took way too long. But when I got it right, it was great.
better come right, better not try and get into a level, cause you might die, never the time, trying to start a battle.
I remember the very first session because it was at Sony and it's a huge like sound recording booth room. And I think in my mind, I'd always imagined it'd be like a tiny like sound booth stage, but it wasn't, it was huge. They had all these cameras set up, but I'm showing up with like sweats, no makeup on, and I'm like, oh no, they're filming. And then I was like, wait, is it okay? I look ugly. I'm like, is this okay? And they're like, no, it's okay. It's just for like reference for the artist. And so, you know, in the beginning, I think I was definitely feeling quite shy and a little bit nervous and anxious because I didn't really know what to expect. And I had what I had prepared, and then, you know, listening to Maggie and Chris share about Rumi and the movie, and they would show us as much as they could at the time, some of the animation, some of the art, some of it was sketches, and we'd sort of break down some of these scenes and start recording. And it was really fun because there is something that's so freeing about voice acting because we only have to focus on our voice, not so much the physicality or your body. And when we're doing silly things, it's okay to be like 100 or to do silly things with like your face and your arms. Like, I think I was making faces that I don't know if I'd want it to be recorded in film forever, but I love that in the animation world, it's kind of like cute. It's like ugly cute.
They're demons! They're demons.
They're demons!
We'll write a brand new song, a diss track to those.
Whoa, that was weird. In my mind, I always imagine like the animation is done and actors just go in and like ADR. I had no idea it was so collaborative, or, you know, even seeing scenes where the characters like don't have movement in the mouth yet, but then seeing that sort of come to life it's so fun. It's also magical.
Do you remember seeing both of you, the character of Rumi and also your voice with her for the first time? Like, what were your reactions to that?
Oh my God. I couldn't connect. I don't know why. I was like disassociating from my voice. It was crazy. I don't know. I loved your voice on Rumi.
Oh,
I felt perfectly, like from, yeah.
I remember always feeling a bit awkward, especially with like Mira and Zoe.
Demons are never nice.
I didn't know how the voices were all going to sound, and I didn't know what it would be like. I have this actor thing where I never feel like the character until I'm in hair, makeup, clothes, shoes included. I'm like, the shoes make me the girl. And so with Rumi, I was never feeling like the girl, right? And I'm like, oh, I gotta be like top star, I gotta be like Demon Hunter. And it's hard when you're not like in the fits. And I remember just being like, okay, closing my eyes and being like, all right, I'm cool, I can do this, I'm Rumi. But then some of the easiest things were all of her like broken moments and all of her intimate moments with like Celine and the girls, because that I felt like it was appropriate, being in sweats and being sort of naked in a sense. Yeah. But I will say the moment that it like clicked and I was like, what? Was when we first saw the screener, when it was at like 80 to 85% complete. And that was the first time I heard all of like EJAE's music and the voice. Yeah, because we never got to, they were so secretive about the music, which I totally understand. It was a big top secret business, you know? But oh yeah. And then when I was watching it, and I remember the second like Golden came on, I was like bawling. I mean, I was like crying already at like how it's done in the beginning. I was like, what? We're so cool. Thank you for making us so cool. But yeah, I remember Golden, I was just like, oh my goodness. Like the little girl in me was like, I never imagined that there would be a movie like this. There's never been a Korean-centered movie in this capacity in Hollywood.
What's so crazy and serendipitous is that if I were to ever debut as an artist, I wanted to be an animated character.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So the fact that...
I mean, you manifested this.
No, literally. It's kind of crazy how the movie also is just manifesting it itself and breaking the fourth wall. So that's why when I saw Rumi like singing, I was just like, yes!
Well, and then you know what's so weird? So my favorite color is purple.
Me too.
And if you look back at my partner track like premiere day, I'm wearing like full purple head to toe. I'm in like purple all the time. So I've had like friends be like, is Rumi's hair purple because you love purple? And I'm like, I had zero like negative to do with any of the art and creative.
It's crazy because mine is technically not purple, it's lavender. I love lavender. And when I saw Rumi's hair, I was just like, wait, what? And that's what's crazy. Like lavender is literally my favorite color. Crazy.
We have twin nails, like not even planned.
Isn't it crazy? Okay, but yeah.
The other big like moment for me was when I was watching the end scene of the girls all coming together after Rumi's like, where it's time to make a new one. And then they all come together and sing what it sounds like.
Show me what's underneath. I'll find your harmony. Fearless and undefined. This is what it sounds like.
Oh my goodness, I think I replayed that moment, I mean, countless times
So
because
good.
it's just perfect.
I feel like I made my little EJAE girl proud, I think. Oh, don't bring that up.
It's okay. Making all the girls
Yeah, I'm just like trying to. It's really gratifying, to be honest. One of the things I felt when I was younger, especially when I got dropped, was like, oh, I guess hard work doesn't pay off. It was like the biggest feeling I got. And you know, since then I got like dropped around like 2015, 16, and 10 years later, you know, this happened. So I think it just gives a big lesson of just keep going, and whatever opportunity you have, say yes to it and work your butt off.
I had been told so many times you would never be a one, or that we couldn't really be a one. In America, or this day and age, I think everybody would be like, if you want to be the lead, go to Korea. And I think it was always hard because I was born and raised in America. And I think partner track at that time felt like, oh, this is it. This is gonna be the show, and it's, you know, my moment. And then when it got canceled, I was like, just how you felt, you know? Maybe hard work doesn't pay off, and maybe that was my time. Who would have known, you know, in a sense, sort of coming out of retirement and sort of being back in that booth and working on something again, but then with like a new excitement, being like, wait, we can be leads. We can be the main character and tell our stories and show our culture proudly. It just felt like everything made sense. You know, like 20 plus years in this business, I'm so excited to be a part of truly one of the most incredible films of all time. Not just animation, but just movie.